Hey y'all, Jamie That's Me here. Welcome back to the channel. Listen, I'm back because we have to get into some Love Island USA news, okay? Now, I know a lot of you guys are like, now, Jamie, I thought we were done. Well, guess what? We not. The way y'all carrying on over there on the Twitter and the tiki-taki, we not done. Not yet, all right? And unfortunately, there has been some very heartbreaking news that has come out from Love Island USA Season 6. And I will say that it can't be more heartbreaking than the two individuals involved. And I have to go ahead and get their faces on the screen. And that is Kenny and Janae. It's so unfortunate, you guys. Season 6 finalists, it appears Janae and Kenny may have split. They may have split. And it's really sad because I remember when Kenny asked Janae to be his girlfriend last year. It was like August 11th. I believe that was the exact date. Okay. August 11th, when he asked her to be his girlfriend. And I said, wait, we are just like a few weeks shy of that. And you mean to tell me you guys didn't make it there? Now, granted, they have been together for over a year if we count the time that they have been in the villa. But when they made things like official, I believe it was around August 11th, just 11 days before my birthday. And unfortunately, it doesn't appear that they're together right now. It doesn't mean things won't change in a week, 2 weeks, but I don't know because they're saying that PPG has unfollowed Kenny. In addition to that, they're saying that Miguel and Cordell have also unfollowed Kenny. And I say, now, wait a minute. People are throwing around a lot of these cheating rumors and things. I don't know if he necessarily cheated. Janae has not come out to confirm. Neither has PPG. That is just mere speculation unless a young lady that he was messing with came out to say, hey, it's me, I'm her, and here's my proof. So I don't know for sure if that's the case or if Kenny may have been doing something a bit more serious. I don't want to put further allegations out there because I do not know for sure what actually took place between the two. But what we can confirm is that Janae took Kenny out of her bio along with a few pics off her IG page. In addition to that, Kenny returned the favor. He took down her name out of his bio. He removed one of the highlights on his page along with photos. And I really feel like he did that because of what Janae did. So I don't know. It seems to me that Janae might have been the one that wanted this breakup. She may have been the one that was like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to do this. We're on different pages. Not necessarily sure, okay? And maybe he thought she was bluffing or something. And once he got wind that, hey, she's removing you out of profile pics and, removing you off her profile bio and taking pics down, he's like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. Well, let me return the favor. Like, this is very sad. Very sad. However, not that it's not expected because there are plenty of couples that come out of the villa and they do not make it beyond a year. Okay, they don't make it. I mean, if you've been watching Beyond the Villa, what we have seen as far as Serena chatting with the girls, it seems like a lot of the conversation has been that they believe Miguel and Leah will be the ones to get married first. If you ask me, I see that being Cordell and Serena over Miguel and Leah, but I want to believe that Miguel and Leah might be a bit older. I want to think and he's crazy about her. Okay, so it may happen. All right, now we will say as far as Janae and Kenny, I saw them on the lower end. I always thought, I'll be very honest, that they would be the first couple to break up. So hearing this breakup is not necessarily a surprise to me. It's very unfortunate. I think Janae is an absolutely beautiful girl. I think she has a great personality, a loving heart, and I'm sure she'll find her person if that person is not Kenny. Now, I'm not going to rule Kenny out just yet. Baby, give me a few months because you guys know how breakups go. You break up with the person, you guys aren't happy, and then next thing you know, a month later, you rekindle some things. Should they rekindle? I do think they should rekindle in private. That is my personal. I don't think they should add each other back to the social media unless there may be business opportunities. But I don't think they should put it back out there for us to consume. Because if it falls apart, then it's another huge big conversation and you're reliving this breakup with the world all over again, if you ask me. So I think should this young couple get back together, keep things a bit private between you guys and y'all figure that stuff out. All right. Now, granted, if you're hanging out with Leah and Serena and Miguel and Cordell and we see you guys in the background and we might know what's going on and we're going to piece things together because we have some really good social media detectives out there. However, keep it on the low low so don't nobody know. Definitely sending love over to Janae as well as Kenny, wishing you guys the best of luck. You know what else is funny? People tried to say that Connor is trying to slide his way back in by following Janae on Instagram. That's not going to happen. Okay. Janae has been a person, in my opinion, that has shown she's standing on business, period. So, with that being said, even if he did offer her an apology, I think there's no chance in hell with Connor and Janae. And who's to say that Connor even really wants her? Wasn't I think he's dating somebody anyway. So maybe they've gotten to potentially a better place. Okay. Who knows? But I will say that Janae and Kenny were out of the country, they're saying. And there was a lot of video that he was recording of him and her and things like that when they were out of the country. So I don't know what could have happened from that day to that night that led into the wee hours of the next morning that resulted in a breakup between the two. I don't know if there was a heated discussion, heated argument. Maybe he said things that were unforgiving, and Janae said, "Oh, that's how you feel," and probably just said, "I'm done," or if it truly was cheating rumors. But I don't really want to put that out there if I don't know for sure, right? So when Janae and Kenny are ready to come to the front and express and explain what's really going on, they will. Some part of me feels like, it's none of our business. We shouldn't try to know what's going on. But because y'all literally have lived your entire life in front of our eyes, we kind of want to know what happened, girl? What's going on? Like, what is this? What is this, honey? Right? So we kind of want to get into some things just a bit, but all in all, as I said before, I'm definitely wishing the both of them the best, and hopefully they can figure this thing out, and whether that's going to be in a relationship and whether that's just going to be great friends after this or just good acquaintances. Hey, how you doing? Okay, Love Island event, what's up? How you doing? Okay, great, good to see you, let's move on. I don't know. But Janae also gives the energy that when we beef, we beefing forever. So it might not be looking too good for you, Kenny, because when you on the outs, you just might be on the outs. But we will always appreciate you guys for that wonderful moment y'all gave us in season 6 upstairs when she told you to pick her because she knows her worth. And she not for to sit up here and fight for that. And you up there crying, talking about how you wanted her. And then you went downstairs crying and said she was leaving. Well, guess what, Kenny? She's really leaving now. All right. But let us pray. Good luck. All right. To those people. Now, the next thing that I want us to get into is Cierra. Right. Oh, can I say that Miss Olandria has been hanging out a lot with Taylor and Miss Clark, honey. They've been having them a blast, and I'm actually liking to see the friendship between Clark and Miss Olandria. I'm loving them. I'm loving them hanging out. But why was I watching a video of Clark recording Olandria, and when she's recording Olandria, you got Taylor over there pulling making sure that Olandria hair is intact. Okay, he over there rubbing on her head and putting her hair in place and stuff. And I say, if you don't get out that lady head for Nick, come up there and put you in a headlock. Back up off her. Okay, but anywho, the vibes are vibing and everybody has been enjoying themselves for the most part, right? But a person that I would like for us to get into is Cierra, because Cierra decided to take to social media to do a 4-part series where she talks about her being in the villa, her relationships with people. She even speaks on Nicolandria, and I definitely want to hear everything she has to say with you guys. We are going to check it out. Another thing that I wanted to highlight was the fact that I started to question if Sierra is coming to us with her questionnaire, and she allowed a lot of the audience to ask questions of her, and she's coming to the front to answer them. It's leaving me to believe that she may not have gotten invited to the reunion. Now, I could be wrong because a lot of people have done interviews. A lot of people have gotten on their lives and answered questions, and that we already know they will definitely be a part of the reunion. I'm hoping they extend an invite to Sierra. If they don't, I completely understand due to the circumstances involving her having to be kicked out of the villa. Okay. Her Love Island journey as a whole ended when she had to be pulled out of the villa at that time. So if she does not come, I understand. But her coming to the front with this questionnaire definitely led me to believe that she may not have gotten an invite. All right. Now, what I want us to do is go ahead and get her video up, and we're going to check it out and see exactly what Miss Sierra had to say about her entire journey, her relationship with Huda, her thoughts on that, her taking accountability and moving forward, as well as Nicolandria, amongst other things. Okay. And you guys also saying how she was so media trained and ready. She definitely touches on that as well. So let us get right on into it.
Coming off of the show has been a whirlwind, to say the least. There's been a lot of adjusting and absorbing and just dealing with the consequences of my actions. A lot of you have had some great advice. You haven't been shy in my DMs to tell me to touch grass and move on with my life, move on from the show. Like I said, I think it's great advice. I've been touching a lot of grass, and I too want to move on from the show. The reality is that I just had this insanely unique experience that took months of my life and has now changed the course of my life. There are so many layers to it. There's how I remember things happening, and then there's how it was edited and spit out into the world, and then there's how the world digested it, and then how the internet dissected it, and there's so many opinions and perspectives layered in between all of it. I have a lot to say about it, and you guys have a lot of questions about it. There's a lot of questions that I feel like only I can provide the answers to. I could have done this in a million different ways. You know, I could have gone on a podcast, I could have given an exclusive or something to a magazine. I think the first step for me in giving myself closure from this chapter of my life and moving on to see what I can be next and how I can grow from here is releasing. I'm also sick, which is why I sound so nasally. I think it's just my body fighting off the stress and the travel and everything, but I didn't want to delay this any longer, so let's get into it. When I opened up my question box, I was absolutely expecting to see tons of this because I've seen it in the headlines, I've seen it in the comments. That's heavy, and it's something that I have to deal with, but it's something that I know that I am not. I'm a proud person of color, I'm a proud Latina. I can only say in so many words that that's not who I am. What matters most is my actions, and there's a lot of actions that I'm partaking in that I am not displaying because people are already labeling me as performative and calculated, and if I tell you the conversations that I'm having or the charities or the education, people are only going to say it's to clean up my image or to do this or to do that. So I think what matters most is I am doing the work, and me doing the work might be different than what you view as doing the work.
And I have to pause right here, okay? Because I do want to add my 2 cents. And if you guys want to watch this entire video without any additional commentary, please go over to her social media pages and check out all 4 parts, right? But, you know, sometimes we are very hard on people. And I'm not saying that some people should not be hard on in an effort for them to learn their lessons. But what I will say is she has put herself in a position that is going to make people question the genuineness of her. But you guys were already questioning that when she was back on the show. But when you correct a person and tell them how you expect for them to show up moving forward or to fix things, I do think that you have to give them the time to actually fix those things. Like, of course, she's going to want to clear up her image. Like, I don't know a person that would or wouldn't. Okay, really, I don't know a person that would not want to clear up their image and show something different after they've been caught in such a scandal or caught just saying, racial slurs and just anything of that nature that could really, like, change their livelihood, change a lot about them, So I don't know too many people that aren't going to want to learn from that and then be able to show you that, but they have to be given the opportunity for that, right? And then you also can make the decision on whether you want to follow them and tune in and watch their growth, or if you want to hear it through the grapevine, right? However, I do think that sometimes, we can be extremely hard on people and we don't often extend the grace to them that we would want ourselves if we were in that position, okay? But I will say there are about 200,000 plus people that are open to seeing this growth from Cierra because her page grew from like 600 or something thousand after losing all of those subscribers. And now she's back at 900,000. So I definitely see her hitting 1 million by the end of the year. And in all honesty, if she attends the reunion, I definitely could see her gaining that extra 100,000 followers over on social media. All right. But you guys can leave your thoughts on that. But we're gonna go ahead and continue.
A lot of people who can accept accountability and growth and give me the chance to prove. So that's what I want to stay rooted in. Me continuing to post and live my life is not me ignoring that this has happened. I promise you, I am dealing with it every single day. Consequences are being faced, but I have to put one foot in front of the other. And that's the only way people learn, is by making mistakes, being corrected, and changing habits to be better. I have a lot more to yap about a lot that you want to know. So let's get into the next topic. One of the top comments or questions that I received is about my PR and media training, which when I first came out of the villa, I was like, they clocked that I'm smart. I love that. I took it as a compliment. And then the more that I saw it, I was like, oh, this is not a compliment. They really think I've been training for this shit like it was the Olympics. You guys, what? Like, I don't have the money for a publicist, nor do I have the time to sit there and train for a reality dating show. Like, it is never that serious. I will tell you is my education is something that I've always taken very seriously. My parents didn't graduate high school, let alone college, and the fact that I was able to and given the opportunity to, like, I took that shit serious. And I love to read and I love podcasts and I've written a lot of emails. I've journaled a lot. I yap a lot. I can see how you're like piecing things together about my career and people I'm friends with and like my Love Island themed birthday party, which isn't something I planned. Like, my friends planned that for me as a surprise birthday party because was a fan of the show. Like, I did like the show. And to me, it was all just like alignment and manifestation that it worked out that I happened to be on it. It was never something I was like putting like, I need to be on this thing. It's my destiny. I'm going to train for it forever. Yes, I have had friends who were on the show. I kept my experience, my audition, very close to myself. I didn't feel like I needed to ask them for advice on how to navigate. The friends that I had that went on the show, I am so different from them. Even if they had given me a play-by-play on how to do shit, like, do you really think I could sit in there and strategize and like be this mastermind and sit in there and execute on top of all the emotions I'm feeling, on top of the lack of sleep, on top of everything? Like, it just would have never been possible. And people think that I like went in and I've only wanted to be an influencer and just wants followers. I went on the show with no expectations. Like, when I went in, I was like, I feel like I'm at such a good place in my life. I have great family. I have amazing friends around me. I have a business that's thriving that I've worked really hard to build. I feel like I've rebuilt myself to have a really strong mental capability at this time. Like, if there's anything I need help with, it's love. Like, men is something I cannot figure out. And if this opportunity is falling into my lap, how am I not supposed to entertain it? I've worked in influencer marketing for years. I've been on the brand side of the industry. I've worked really hard in my career. I now own a business. I have my own talent agency, but I've always been on the back end. Like, that's where I'm comfortable.
First
I'm
of
really
all,
grateful that the opportunity.
I have to pause here because I think that was a very ignorant question to ask her. Let me go back and please forgive me.
That I've worked really hard to build. I feel like I've rebuilt myself to have a really strong mental capability at this time. Like, if there's anything I need help with, it's love. Like, men is something I cannot figure out. And if this opportunity is falling into my lap, how am I not supposed to entertain it? I've worked in.
Are you going to give yourself and us a break and get a job instead of trying to be an influencer? You know, I feel like a lot of questions like this come from individuals who don't believe in themselves to step out and be an influencer. I feel like you have your own insecurities within yourself. I think that you may not like things about how you look, right? You may not like your own personality. Um, you may not have had individuals around you to believe in you enough, therefore you don't believe in you enough to step out and want to put yourself on display as far as being an influencer of some sort. But I do think that you would admire a lot of influencers. Now, granted, there are a lot of people that are content without being an influencer, but I'm willing to believe a lot of them aren't trying to make somebody else feel away by saying, are you going to get a job instead of trying to be an influencer? If you chose to get a job and have a 9 to 5 and work and, do your thing, then kudos to you, right? Everybody has different walks in life. And if she chooses that she wants to be an influencer and it's actually working out for her, and if that's her way of feeling like, I want to work smarter and not harder, then hey, and don't get no mistake now, influencer life can be extremely hard. Although it may be glamorous on the outside, they still have deadlines they have to meet. There are still things that they have to do. And then when you're working with a multitude of brands, like, that's a lot. That's a lot, right? But like, I think that is a very rude and disrespectful question. Right? Are you going to do yourself and us a favor to get a job as if her being an influencer isn't a real job? It's a way, it's to me no different than actors working on a commercial for you guys to sell you all products when you're watching these television shows. And now that you spend so much time on social media, let us meet these people on social media where they can also interact with real people that will actually use our products. Like, huh? Like, what? Like, that's crazy. I honestly would want to believe that this came from a person who wish they were an influencer, someone who don't have enough belief within themselves. Okay, their insecurities are overshadowing other things about themselves. Maybe their personality is overshadowing your confidence as a whole. Okay, so I think that was so rude, but she's answering rude questions and all. So there's that.
influencer marketing for years. I've been on the brand side of the industry. I've worked really hard in my career. I now own a business. I have my own talent agency, but I've always been on the back end. Like, that's where I'm comfortable. I'm really grateful that the opportunity came, even in how it's unfolded. But was it ever something I was dedicating my life to training for? No. That's just how I talk. That's just how I am. I don't always say the right things, but sometimes I do. And I don't know, I never thought that would be held against me. Which brings me to the long-awaited.
I just cannot believe somebody. And then now she's letting you guys know that she's also a business owner, and she's also the owner of herself because she's a brand. She's a business now, right? That was just like, I don't know. Interesting. Y'all just be saying all kind of stuff, huh? How did they kick you out of the villa?
Story time of how I was asked to leave the villa. Triggering trauma. I have to smile about it or else I cry about it. I have to give it to you guys because at a time when I was distraught, I was actually laughing at the videos that you were creating about me getting like woken up in the middle of the night or something, because that was funny. I'll give it to you. It's not how it happened though. It was actually a glorious day. The birds were chirping, the sun was out. It was the 4th of July. I thought I would put on my cute little red checkered bikini in the name of the American holiday. And I was making raspberry lemonade for the crew. Like, I literally used fresh squeezed lemons, put raspberries in, and they broke us for lunch. I remember I was having a chat with the girls and I was like, I am gonna be so sad to leave you guys. You guys have been such an amazing part of my experience. Saying goodbye is gonna be so hard. I was telling Huda, like, I can't wait for FaceTime dates with your daughter. And I got pulled to a producer chat. These are really normal, like, you have them check-ins throughout the day. This one obviously felt different. They pulled me and they just said to me point blank, there's been some posts that have surfaced on your social media that don't align with our values. They don't align with the network's values, and we don't have any choice but to remove you from the show. So many thoughts were going through my brain. It was a lot to process. They had showed me the posts and I just broke down. I started crying. My immediate reaction was, okay, I understand, you know, this is really serious. Can I just say my goodbyes? They said no. So I didn't get to say goodbyes. In that moment, that was the hardest part, especially because I had just been talking with them about how hard it was going to be for me to say goodbye to them. It really, really hurt. Things were ending and I didn't have any closure. It was sad, it was emotional, but it wasn't abrasive. It wasn't this explosive thing that everybody felt and I was screaming in confessionals and doing all of this. It was just tears. A lot of people.
So, and I'm so glad because that was going to be my question. Was that you screaming in the middle of, was that Olandria's confessional? And it sounds like she's confirming that it was not her screaming. She was just in tears. Like, it wasn't her saying, you can't do this. So I don't know who that was, okay, unless she's lying to us in this moment, but she's saying that I was in tears. I just cried. I just cried. Okay, now that would be crazy if that was her yelling, saying you can't do this, basically feeling like you're entitled to stay, right? When you're not. So there's that. But I want to know, who was that yelling? Okay, was somebody else saying yelling at someone else like you can't do this because they took something? Like, I'm wondering about that part. Who was that screaming?
Also wanted to know if I was expecting Nick to leave with me. Did I want him to leave with me? Fuck, it would have been nice, but did I expect it? Absolutely not. I had to deal with my own shit. That wasn't something that he signed up for or that I would ever want him to attach himself to. I wanted him to stay and see through his time in the same way that I did. Was I surprised when he didn't? No. And I was actually okay with the fact that he chose himself, and I would never hold that against him. One of the most shocking things for me coming out of the villa was seeing the perception of my relationship with Huda. I thought that we had a really great bond inside the villa. You guys didn't get to see a lot of the friendship building that happened off camera. With Huda, especially in the beginning, I was attached to her. I think you guys saw when we had the moment where I kind of reality checked her in a way. I told her, like, hey, I almost sent you home last night. I am a graduated crash out. I have been through what she was going through with Jeremiah before. I saw this whole vision for her, this redemption arc. Like, I really wanted her to rewrite the narrative and show America the Huda that I was seeing. Nick and I, we were coupled up at the time, and we had our first argument about it. Like, he couldn't understand why I had kept Huda around. I just remember feeling like I really fought for her and like put myself in an uncomfortable situation in my couple to be like, no, I see so much more in this girl. I see more for her than what she's displaying in this relationship, and I want her to have that opportunity and that experience. And so when I had that heart to heart with her, I feel like that was another pivotal point in our friendship. There was a clip that
Couldn't have been too pivotal. Because when Huda sat down over there on Call Her Daddy and she was asked about who was the fakest person in the villa, she said that it was you. Do I wholeheartedly think that Huda felt that way? I don't know. I want to say no, but I honestly don't know because Huda just she be lying. That's just the short answer, okay? And a lot of what Huda said, she regurgitated from what her fans were thinking. So I feel like, unfortunately for Huda, she has an audience that she is going to have to appease, and she's going to have the same mental thoughts as them, which is a maniac, basically, okay? Which is very weird in my personal, in an effort to continue to feed them and to continue to get their support, is what it appears to me. And yikes, to have fans that are minions of yours and now you're having to turn to be minions of theirs in an effort to keep their support is a bit tragic, because doing that interview she just said a lot of things that her fans was already saying. And oh yeah, I knew I wasn't crazy, I knew it wasn't. What? That's terrible. But okay.
I was upset about something that was happening with Nick and I, and it was just Huda and I in the dressing room, and she was asking me, like, do you want to talk about it? And I was ignoring her. That didn't happen that way. I didn't ignore her. We had a whole moment where I didn't speak, but we hugged. Like, we said a lot without words. And the reason I wasn't speaking is because I had just calmed myself down from crying, and if I spoke again, I felt like I was going to cry, and so I was like, okay, no, I'm just going to be held in this moment. And she understood that. Fast forward to the heart rate challenge. Everyone is like, did Huda do too much? Why were you such a mean girl? What did we not see? Huda has amazing moves, okay? And one of her signature moves is like licking the genitals, okay, of the man. She did it to Jeremiah during the dominatrix challenge when she was coupled up with him, but in the heart rate challenge she did it to Ace, and Chris had made it like halfway around the circle. He was already halfway through the girls while Huda was still focused on Ace, and the guys honestly clocked it before the girls did. Like, I'm looking around and the guys are looking at each other like, what the fuck is going on? I think, you know, even Huda has come out and said that she's taken accountability and she would have moved differently had she known that it would have had the effect that it did. Chelley is my girl. I've never seen her be uncomfortable or lose her composure once, and I could feel her energy that this like really upset her. In that time, I was not going to disinvalidate her, especially when everyone was looking around like, okay, that was a bit too much. Even the guys were admitting like, okay, that was a bit too much. Huda herself was admitting that was too much. There's
facts. And if you would have tried to invalidate her feelings in that moment, you definitely would have had more than the few that have been on your ass about it. You would have had a lot more people on your tail. Okay. And thank God that a lot of the guys in the villa even admitted and acknowledged the fact that Huda did too fucking much, because if not, the mean girl narrative would have really caught some steam. Okay. Granted, it caught a little bit because you guys were very racist towards her, which is so funny considering some of you same guys were the ones, guys and gals, were the ones to get Cierra up off the show, right? But then go on to spew racism and things over to Chelley. So thank God you had other islanders to be in the villa and show, and the producers show us on camera that everybody was a bit uncomfortable because Huda did too much, and some people came out of the villa and said the same thing. Okay, so yeah.
a viral moment where I was like, wait, Huda raised Ace's heart? Like, and I made a face. I didn't clock that her performance actually raised his heart rate the most. So I was like, this is messier than I thought it was. I thought it was just the performance that was an issue, but no, it's that he actually enjoyed it, or at least one of his heartbeats enjoyed it. Like, that's messy. And that was clocked and taken out of context completely. The next day was the Stand on Business challenge, which, by the way, was the most uncomfortable point in the season. That challenge lasted all night, like 6, 7, maybe 8 hours. I remember seeing the sun coming up at some point, and they were like, we've got to wrap this up. Huda had to be up.
That's where we should have got some live feeds, okay? We should have got some live feeds of that interaction. Y'all could have gave us an extra 2 hours or something, live feeds of people standing on business
There for maybe 30 minutes. At the time that I was like making all of these faces, it was definitely taken out of context. If anything, I was hella uncomfortable. And also, guys, everyone's like, why are you always pouting? Why are you doing this duck face? I have raging anxiety. I like chew the inside of my lip. Someone's gonna clip this. I just, all day long, I was not making those faces at the times that they were shown. It was genuinely me being hella uncomfortable with the entire situation and how it was playing out, and it's just really sad that it was all taken that way. I know that since the season has ended, Huda has come out and said that she was bullied and she didn't have any friends in the villa. I don't take bullying lightly. I think that's awful. I don't think anyone should be treated disrespectfully no matter what they've done. Like, even in her peak of crash outs, I was making sure that everyone was treating her with respect and really fighting for her. And even the times that I was taking distance, like, I still felt, at least for me, like, I thought everything was okay, and I was still trying to comfort her in those moments. And I hate to know that she feels differently about it. With her saying that I'm the fakest, I think that when you come out of the villa and you absorb all of this information at a rapid pace and you see all of the edits, like, it kind of fucks with you. You're like, what's real and what's not? And did this person say that? And this and that. I think the only thing that keeps me grounded in the situation is remembering my reality, my experience. And I always remember positive feelings, and anytime I had negative feelings, I expressed them to her. And even in then, like, I was showcasing them to her from a point of love and from a point of, like, wanting things to be better. So I am proud of her. I'm really happy for her that she's had this redemption arc that I wanted for her from the beginning. No matter what place we're at,
She really didn't get a redemption arc. She just has crazed fans. That's all that she got. I mean, like, it's not necessarily a redemption arc. But I mean, I guess it's good for her that a lot of the islanders that she felt bullied her kept redeeming her by saving her ass. Every decision. Like, girl.
do wish nothing but the best for her, and it's sad how things played out, but it's all love on my end. Do I genuinely believe I got a bad edit? No. Were there certain things that irritated me due to choice, bad editing? Yes. The mean girl shit was really getting to me because I was like, it does look like I'm being mean, but I'm not a mean girl. What the fuck? And am I your dream girl? Like, that conversation didn't happen that way. The Hannah vote. This one is always going to be so sore to me because everyone always asks, like, do you still stand by it? Does it make sense? Make it make sense. And the thing is I cannot make it make sense. And you would think that the way that people are coming for me for it, I casted the vote myself, but, like, there were 4 of us who made the decision together unanimously. Voting is never fucking easy. Like, it was the most uncomfortable thing, and there were few people in the villa that had to participate in every single vote, and I am one of them. And every single time, the logic behind it was different, and no, it never made sense. At the time of the Hannah vote, it was Hannah, Iris, and Amaya standing up there. We all sat down. Someone was like, I believe it was Huda, she was like, I'm not sending home Amaya. And we all agreed unanimously, like, honestly, yes, Amaya is not in question. Let's think about this connection-wise, like, who has the strongest connection? And another person was like, is that the right way to do this? You know, like, is that the most logical way to do this by only thinking about the strong connections? The guys said that Amaya should have went home that night. Like, she's the one that had, like, the least ties and really didn't have a connection. Hello, Amaya came back and won the fucking season and won the heart of America. Like, I'm so glad that she was there to do that. It's never like, I think they're a strong couple, they're standing in the way of my money. Like, you're not in there thinking about the money. There's so much going on. You forget that there's this, like, prize at the end, and that is the genuine, honest truth about it. Even thinking about it now, as much as I can say, I could never make it make sense, honestly, because that was a vote that I never wanted to do, deciding between those 3 girls. And I know it was clipped saying, like, she should be grateful, she got to experience 2 connections. I was really just trying to have a glass half full mentality and, like, trying to spit some positivity into a really heavy and negative situation. And maybe that wasn't the time for me to try to see the North Star because it was just completely used against me. But at the end of the day, I wish Hannah could have stayed. I do think her experience was cut too short. There was just never going to be a right answer in that. This is going to be just, like, rapid fire random villa questions. We never know what time they woke us up. Sometimes we would wake up and see that the sun hadn't risen yet, and other times we'd wake up and be like, oh, I think it's about noon. Yes, so many people swam in the pool, you just didn't see it because we couldn't wear our mics in the pool, aka it wasn't anything worth being filmed, but people were diving, playing volleyball. The pool definitely got used. The boys were in charge of cooking us breakfast every single morning, and then we had lunch and dinner catered, and for lunch and dinner, they would separate the boys and the girls. So girls would eat on one side of the villa, boys would eat on the other, and you were never allowed to talk about anything that was happening inside the villa, which is, like, where so much bonding happened because you got to know who people were for their core. And some of my favorite moments were made at lunch and dinner. Also at night, everyone would get the munchies, and the boys would usually chef up, like, grilled cheeses and bacon, egg, and cheese and pancakes and lots of snacks, lots of cookies, lots of sour strips. So many days I woke up and did not want to put a bikini on, especially after eating all the pancakes and all the cookies the night before. I was like, damn, can we wear workout clothes? But they were very strict, like, no, girls, you have to be in bikinis and you have 30 minutes to get yourself together to do so. I was homesick every single day, honestly. I missed my parents and my family and my friends so much, and it was really hard not being able to talk to them, but I was really trying to stay like present and grateful for the moment and the experience that I was having. I think before every challenge, you kind of got these like butterflies, and I always say never confuse nerves for excitement. It was just so in the moment, and you had no choice just to like go all out, and I feel like everyone thrived off of each other's energy, so I feel like the excitement outweighed the nerves. My favorite challenge was either the fourth base challenge because it was so outrageous, or the pie challenge because I got to kiss Chelley, or the heart rate challenge because it's such an iconic Love Island challenge, and like the outfit and the energy and then winning it, like that was just such a fun moment for me. There are too many things to name that went on that were not shown. You guys saw such a snippet of such a crazy long experience, so many minutes in a day that couldn't be broadcasted, but I would say like the depth of the relationships and the depth of the conversations that were being had definitely weren't shown. My favorite part of each day was getting ready for the nighttime with the girls, just like doing our makeup and yapping and seeing everyone's cute outfits, and like Shelly and I would do this model walk every single night. It's just like a good omen to make sure that we had a good time, and it was just like so girly, and I'd never had sisters, and it just really felt like a sisterhood moment, and I missed that dressing room. It was cute in there. Not having our phones, being away from social media, not having a fucking clue what was happening in the outside world was by far the best part of the experience. It made me realize, like, damn, this is really how humans should be living. It brought out so much raw conversation and raw emotion, and coming back into all of it, I'm like, damn, I kind of missed the peace. Music was such a gift in the villa. Anytime the speaker came out was like such a treat. Majority of the time it was silent. For the challenges, we were sober and silent. It was purely just thoughts, vibes, energy. You never really felt like you were being recorded, or at least I didn't. Like, you would just forget, honestly. No, we could never get our nails done. The boys got to get haircuts, but we could never get our nails done. The girls were, like, if you saw my shit, it was hella grown out. I was begging for press-ons by the end of it. It was bad. Every night was different. I want to say we averaged 4, maybe 5 hours a night. Some days I would wake up and I'd be like, no, I didn't sleep. Like, I just closed my eyes. What do you mean? But we never knew the time, so you never actually knew how much sleep you got. Sometimes wardrobe would come in if it was like a big night and provide things for you to wear, like Megan Thee Stallion night, things were provided. Some of the recouplings we had options to wear, but majority of the time I just chose to select my own wardrobe. I don't even fuck with pancakes like that, but something about those villa pancakes smacked every single time. I was like craving them every morning and every night. Non-filming days, chill days were the best because there was just no pressure to do anything. You could work out for as long as you wanted. You didn't have to wear any makeup. You could wear whatever you wanted. I usually chose to do a workout, swim in the pool, sleep, listen to music. You're not allowed to smoke tree. It's illegal in Fiji, but people would take like vape and cigarette breaks. Nicest islander was probably Elan. Elan is such a sweetheart. Yes, Maybelline came through. Everything that was on the shelves was free for us to use, and I definitely used and abused all of it. Actually, that may be the worst part of the experience, was having to do your makeup every single day, sometimes twice a day. Like, I was so tired. My makeup brushes were like, girl, put me down, please. My skin was feeling it, but at the end of the day, look good, feel good, so I would do it all again if I could. My favorite couple is Ace and Shelly. I've been avoiding this one. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like my feelings about it change every day, and it's so complex. Like, there's so many layers involved to it. I don't think I could ever explain it in a way where I could expect everyone to understand. At its core, I'm just
I bet it is so complex because you were really hoping Nick would leave with you out of that villa. Chai, and you thought that Olandria was one of your good friends, and then as much as you probably felt away, and you probably felt the way that they reconnected, you probably downplayed it too. You probably thought it was going to just be another friendship couple for them to make it to the end. And then you're starting to see all of these edits where Nick went over to kiss Olandria in the blindfold challenge the same night that you came and entered the villa. So you actually interrupted that, just a little piece. And the producers helped. But anyway, let her finish, because let her finish.
a girl who liked a boy. I'm mourning a relationship and going through like kind of like a breakup almost, and like a lot of people won't understand that because it's like, oh, it's a dating show and you only knew each other for X amount of weeks. What I will say about Nick and I's relationship is, throughout it all, despite what you guys saw, we were both doing our fair share of exploring. Our kind of like unwritten rule was that we wouldn't ask each other about how they felt about other people, how we felt about other people. Where we found comfort and solidarity is like taking our minds outside of the villa. Like we avoided the where's your head at, how are you feeling, and we just talked about like the most random shit and just bonded over like life outside of the villa. There's so much of it that you guys didn't get to see, and you know, it is what it is. But when Casa Amor happened, that was, I think, a turning point for both of us. You know, like it took me so much to get to a place where I could let my walls down and really feel for someone. In that moment that I was back at the fireplace and I thought that Nick was gone, I had this moment of clarity where I was like, why is he gone? Like, he should be here. I want to be with him. And that's kind of when I knew that he was the person I wanted to be with. He came back and he told me that he missed me and told me about his Casa experience. Like, I was on such a high from thinking that he was gone and then realizing that he was back and hearing that he just was thinking about me this whole time. So I thought, when I realized Nick was back, I had given all my attention to him, obviously. So when I was with Olandria off camera, I was like, girl, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy to see you. Like, obviously 2 nights before, I was just sobbing my fucking eyes out because she had left. She's one of my closest friends in there and like one of my confidants and one of my people, you know? And I said to her, I'm so glad you're here. And she was like, girl, I have to talk to you because, you know, Nick and I were coupled up. So obviously we had to explore. And then it was cut off. Like, we had to save the rest of the conversation for the chat we were going to have. But the way that she displayed it to me in that moment, like the quotation marks, I was like, okay, they had to explore. And I was already jumping to conclusions. I'm like, they're okay, so maybe they like cuddled and maybe they kissed. Like, I'm already kind of, you know, setting myself up for what she's going to tell me. Fast forward, Nick and I had this chat, and yeah, he did tell me about the kiss, but I don't know, I felt maybe it was downplayed, maybe it was the way that he expressed it to me, but it never felt like it was something that I had to worry about, especially because he was also telling me that it gave him clarity and that he wanted to be with me. And at that moment, after all of the emotions and after missing him and realizing how strong my feelings were for him, and then after Olandria had also told me, like, yes, we kissed, but I felt nothing, like, at this point, these are 2 people that I trust and that I care for, and God forbid I believe them. Like, I believed that what they were telling me, there's no spark, there's no chemistry, you have nothing to worry about. Like, I chose to ride with that. And was there a part of me that was like, fuck, should I be mad about this? Of course. But I think in there you have to choose what you're gonna give your emotion to, you know? And it takes so much more energy out of me to be upset about something and to hold a grudge than it does to just take steps to go forward. And in that moment, like, I just wanted to move forward with my friendship with Olandria and with my relationship with Nick, and I wanted to believe that that kiss was nothing. Now, when I came out of the villa, mind you, I come out thinking that Nick and I are in this amazing place and, you know, we're closed off and we have these strong feelings for each other. I already knew that the situation I was stepping into in my reality with, like, what I was dealing with my misuse of words, like, I already knew that that was gonna deter anything that could involve us. But coming out to see that the whole internet, football franchises, his family was rooting for them to be together the entire time that him and I were together, like, yeah, that hurt. And even when I first saw it, it didn't click to me. Like, I still wanted to believe, like, okay, but, you know, these people don't really know what it was like in there, and they don't know all the relationships that we have with each other and the dynamics. And like, as the episodes went on and as I watched as a viewer from someone on the outside and I saw their connection forming, I was like, damn, okay, it fucking hurts, but I think 2 things can exist at once. Like, I can be sad for myself that I'm mourning this relationship and all of these things that I thought were gonna happen between us, and I can also be happy for 2 people that I care about. But as days went on and I didn't hear from either of them, the more hurt I became. Like, I feel like when I first came out and I could appreciate the friendships and the relationships and the memories that we had all shared and find beauty in their situation, it was because I thought that, like, they could come out and, I don't know, I guess embrace me. But as the days went on and it just kind of felt like I never existed, and like the friendship Olandria and I shared had never existed, and the relationship that Nick and I shared had never existed, like, that shit hurts. Being shut down with no closure, like, it's closure that I've had to provide for myself, and it's a lot. Like, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I'm fucking hurt, but I'm also a fucking adult. I have other shit to deal with. Like, there's a lot in my life that I have to put together, and I'm just going through the motions. So how do I feel about Nicolandria? I'm happy for them. Does it hurt? Of course, but I think they can both exist. I think I can be hurt and wish them the best, and that's just what it's gonna have to be. Asking where we stand now, and the answer is that we don't stand on any business. I think, like, a lot of comments are throwing my line back at me where I say, if I can take your man, he was never your man to begin with. And I still stand by that. If you can take my man, you can have him. Like, it's very clear to me, we are not meant to be. It was never my situation to end up in. How it unraveled is fucking crazy. It's all one of one. But I never need a man to tell me twice that he doesn't want me. And I can only speak to know that, like, my feelings were real. And I think I would drive myself in circles trying to figure out if his were real or not. I'll always cherish the really one-of-one experience that we did have and focusing on healing from it rather than figuring out where it could have gone. So that's that. A lot of the love that I received is on my outfits and my makeup and my jewelry and my hair, and I cannot tell you guys how much that means to me, especially my hair. It's been such a long journey trying to love my curly hair and figure out how to style it. I'm gonna share all of that with you.
All right, you guys. So that is what Miss Cierra had to say. She's still extremely hurt by the Nicolandria of it all, but she also wishes them well at the same time. I also wonder if she's gonna go back and watch the season in its entirety and just see how Nick wasn't always all in on her as much as she was all in on him. Okay, Nick was ready to link up with damn near any woman that he could that was in the villa. All right, he was all in on Iris. Then another person came in, and he's all in on them. So whenever she would ask for certain things, it just didn't seem like he would give her that. I'm not gonna say that clarity, but he just never seemed like he was all in all the time when it comes to Cierra. Okay. But that's what's going on. And she answered pretty much all of the questions uninterrupted. So I don't see her really being at the reunion, but we'll have to wait and see. But you guys, let me know your thoughts about everything that Cierra had to say in this video. Okay. Want to know your thoughts about her and her thoughts on Huda, and Huda calling her the fakest person in the villa and saying that she was bullied in the villa. Wanting to hear you guys, thoughts on how Cierra feels about her connection or past connection with Huda, as well as your thoughts on her and Nicolandria. All right. Also, let me know your thoughts about Kenny and Janae. Are you surprised? Were you surprised, or did you always expect them to be the first to break up? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Of course, I am Jamie. That's me, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Yeah, tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a praxis. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATL, got them trying to clone me like ages. Game time, I invaded gym. High elevated, I can face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over. I'm Invader Zim, on a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film.